Hello, this is Joanne Eisen, and I wanted to have a little chat, a short little chat about worthiness and how worthiness keeps us small. Worthiness is not only what we think, but how we are affected by the people that we hang out with. Usually, the people we hang out with are close to or resonate to the vibration that we're at. So we do vibrate and attract people that are of the same kind of thinking because of where we're vibrating at that moment. So the interesting thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which is something that I have experienced in my life, it's something that I didn't really totally believe in when I was younger, mostly because I've always been the kind of person that believes in the underdog. I believe in those that are less than, don't have enough, all those things. I wanted to support them, which is, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'm talking about two different things. But at the time, I couldn't separate the two. And I didn't have a strong, um, I didn't have a lot of strength within myself to have confidence in myself to believe I can do anything other than what I am doing or was doing at the time. The topic that I had been thinking about, and I got into a conversation with somebody this week about worthiness and how that we belittle or de-elevate ourselves because of our own thinking or our own opinion of who we think we are. And we were talking about power and giving power away, and how important, as we all know, is to keep our power within ourselves and making sure that we are taking responsibility for our own power and for our own will. And so what we were talking about was seniority, which the definition of seniority is the fact or a state of being older or higher in position or status than someone else. The interesting thing about that is if you can have that within yourself, that kind of seniority within your own thinking and with your own being, then you don't easily give your power away. We've had many um, very wealthy top people, we don't have to talk about anybody in particular, who believe that they are the know all of all things. And it's not about having the ego that you know everything, but it's having that structure, that solidness within us, that we know that we have the seniority of our own life and that we believe that we are in control and have that authority of our own life. That's keeping your power. And the interesting thing that I've talked to some people about was how we lower our opinions, our desires, our wants, our so many things within ourselves. If we're, if we've got that friction against somebody else or something else, it's not really meeting what it is that we want to do or how we think we want to do something. And so one of the examples that I had heard this week, which I thought was really amazing, was that you have different people in the world. You have your A players, you have your B players, and you have your C players. And we all know the A players, they're at the top of their game, and they're always striving to be better or to do better or to find easier ways or to challenge themselves or to rise above something. A B player is somebody who stays in the middle, somebody who's complacent, somebody who's like, I maybe can do this, or I don't have to do this, or I don't have to grow, or I don't have to challenge myself. I'm happy where I'm at. Everything is good. Then you have your C player who's like, everything sucks. I suck. I'm never going to get any better. Everything's bad. The world is falling away. It's all terrible. Everything's terrible. And, it's easy for people to look at those kinds of people, I guess, with those kinds of attitudes. And we can say, I don't choose to be a part of your group. I don't choose to hang around with those kinds of people that think that way, because that's so polar opposite of what I think or how I feel. But the funny thing is that we become very happy to be in the world of the B players. And I find that very interesting because it's very comfortable and very common for us to do that because everything is familiar and we're not challenged and we're not meeting that resistance and that friction to be able to jump into things that may be scary or to challenge ourselves with something we may not know. And so the interesting thing is, I used to tell my kids when they were little, you are who you hang out with. And I knew at the time what I was saying, but I didn't understand the depth of what I was saying, not until I woke up and not until recently, really. It goes as far as our ego wants to be stroked. Our ego wants to know that everything is okay. Our ego wants to know that we're okay. Our ego doesn't want to feel bad. Our ego doesn't want to be or feel stupid. So what we do is we make ourselves small so we don't have to challenge ourselves to prove that we can or can't do something. And the only way that we grow is to take extremes or challenges or rising above to something that we're not comfortable with to find out what we're really made of. And I'm sure all of you at some point in time have said, I can't do something and I have all these reasons why I can't do them, but then you do it and you find out that you did perfect at it, or that it was hard, but you did it, or it was really hard and you got through it. Either way, you got to the other end of what it was that you tried to accomplish. And that's what A players do. A players hang out with people that are only going to challenge them, encourage them, uplift them, be examples to them of how to raise their game, how to be more of who they really should be than to be complacent with where they're at. I don't think that we go into this kind of arena thinking that we're going to be more than we are, or to push ourselves in ways that are not right, or to do things just because we think about it without really analyzing it. We're not talking about that. But if you have a dream, we'll just take dreams because there's so many ways that this can happen. If you have a dream and you want to do things, I'll use me as an example. I've had dreams. I've had this dream to have a community center for years, and I'm just now doing it. I was hanging out on the B team part of the time. Yes, I was hanging out on the B team. The other part of the time I was processing and trying to figure out exactly what that dream is. The interesting thing about it though is when you're playing in the A league, I guess you can say, that's where you have the people around you that are smarter than you, that understand more than you know, that are willing to be able to take chances, are willing to encourage you to take chances, that are going to celebrate your wins and you're going to celebrate their wins. And it's like, when you're in school and you go through the elementary school and you're at kindergarten, you're at the bottom of the chain, you get to the 5th grade and you're at the top of the chain. Then you go to junior high school and you're at the bottom of the chain and you're at the top of the chain. And then you go to high school and the same thing happens. You go to college. But when you start your life, we still have that kind of foundation by the people that we hang out with. So what I would like to encourage you to do is to think about, how are you in seniority of your own life? How do you take that stand within your own life of knowing you are the authority? You have that given gift to have the authority of your own life, because it changes your perception on even keeping your power. Because what we do is, and I've done this, and I've learned this lesson by working with a well-known card reader, psychic medium, where everybody just was like in awe of her. And I was as well. And what I realized as I was going through that process was, we're the same. She's no better than I am. Nobody's no better than we are. it's just some people have more knowledge at some things, and we don't know all things. We can't know all things. It's totally impossible to know all things. So I would be afraid to ask people, or I would be afraid to open up to people. And it was really hard and lonely to go through life where you could not ask for help, or you didn't want to really open up to people because you were afraid of what they would think of you, mostly because you didn't want them to think badly of you. Mostly because we have so much respect for other people and not enough respect for ourselves. And that is the wonderful beauty of, I think, growing and waking up is unfolding more and more of truths that we've had all along, but that we've grown to understand better and better and better. So, thank you for listening. Once again, though, I'm going to encourage you to think about who is it that is within your group. Do you have people in your group that are challenging you to be better than you are challenging you to think of things in a different way, are challenging you to do that thing that you really want to do and you're afraid to do? And from my experience, the only thing I can say is give yourself time and give yourself love, and give yourself also a kick in the butt to go one step at a time.